Good morning to all of you. I am Prince Misra. I welcome you all on behalf of GSS Core in my online geography optional class. Today I am here with you to discuss very important geography optional topic, that is monsoon. Almost in last couple of weeks you must be hearing some of the devastating news about the floods in Kerala, in Assam, in Bihar, in Telangana, a very devastating landslide in Kerala. Whenever you will come across these kind of hazard and related news, the one thing that is more or less highlighted every time is that these are the outcome of the monsoon rainfall, to be precise, monsoonal fury. In this backdrop, I have decided to discuss this topic monsoon, which is very important for your geography optional. If you will go back and you will check the question paper of previous years, then you will find almost invariably every year you will find a question from monsoon in your geography optional. Not only this geography optional, even every year you will find a question from monsoon in your GS geography, and it is equally very important for your GS prelims. So it is a kind of topic which is equally important for your both GS as well as optional, and also it is equally important for your prelims as well as mains. But today I am basically going to discuss this monsoon topic related to your geography optional. Also, this monsoon topic I will discuss in different parts, and I will discuss almost all the issues, all the major phenomena related to the monsoon. This video I have structured mainly in 3 sections, and in partly first I will discuss the origin, and mechanism of monsoon. Then we'll try to find out the nature of rainfall related to monsoon. So pattern of rainfall, and then the most important aspect which is very relevant, and that's why I have named this particular topic as changing dynamics of monsoon in 21st century, that we need some kind of mechanism for the prediction of the monsoon. So basically this whole lecture has been designed in these 3 themes, and in first theme I will discuss about some of the basics of monsoon. In second theme I will talk about the rainfall pattern, and then some of the prediction methodology. Now, as far as this term monsoon is concerned, I am very sure that almost all of you must have heard about this term monsoon. Whether you are a geography student, whether you have an interest in UPSC or you have selected geography optional, irrespective of that, you must be listening this term monsoon, in fact from your childhood. And whenever we come across the term monsoon, the one thing that which comes to our mind is simply rainfall. So monsoon is very much synonymous with the rainfall. So the first question arises that whether this monsoon is only related to rainfall or something else. Now I will tell you some interesting facts. As far as our country is concerned, around 69% of our population lives in villages. That is, you can say, rural population. Most of the rural population still involved in agricultural activity. That's why India is considered a agricultural economy based country. As far as agriculture is concerned, one of the important aspect of agriculture, of course I am not going in that detail, requirement of soil, requirement of other climatic condition, but as far as agriculture is concerned, the water, irrigation is one of the important aspect. And if we will talk about the total agriculture area of our country, more than 50% still is rain fed. What is the meaning of rain fed? Simply rain fed means the type of agriculture that only or solely depends on the monsoonal rainfall. In that particular area, there is no availability of any other irrigation, man-made irrigation facility. So these 60% agricultural area is solely depends on rainfall, and in our country the rainfall mainly happens through monsoon, or you can say summer rainfall. In other words, you can say the agriculture mainly depends on the monsoonal rainfall. So if there will be any change can be, you can have excess rainfall, you can have deficit. So any change in the rainfall is bound to affect the agricultural activity. And if the agricultural activity will get affected, the effect will be manifold. If the agricultural activity get affected, then might be there will be a disruption in the production, and if the disruption of the production of the crops, then the prices will go up, down, depending upon if you will have high production, prices will go down, if you will have low production, prices will go up. So there will be a food inflation. So you will have a lot of ramification of this monsoonal rainfall. Sometimes also Indian agriculture is termed as mainly depends on the rainfall. Even because of this importance of monsoonal rainfall and its outcome in the agriculture in total economy, sometimes monsoon is also termed as finance minister. Of course, it is not the finance minister of our country, but in geographical parlance, it is termed as finance minister. Not only this agriculture, we have many-fold outcome of this monsoonal rainfall. Whenever we refer this term monsoon, the one thing that comes to mind that Indian monsoonal rainfall, but monsoon is not limited to India. Monsoon is also available, monsoon is also affecting other part of the world. In fact, the monsoon in totality almost affect half of the population of this planet. So it is one of the very important climatological phenomena. But as far as today's lecture is concerned, I am only going to discuss about the Indian monsoonal rainfall. So I will talk about only rainfall of monsoon, how it is affecting the India, that is our country. So one aspect of this monsoon is very much on top is your agriculture. But this agriculture is not only related with monsoon. We have other phenomena, other features also which are very much associated with the monsoon. The most important, some of the hazards. In fact, in starting itself, I told you that I am going to discuss this monsoon in the backdrop of a lot of flood that is affecting southern state, eastern state. So one of the very important hazard which coincides with this monsoon is flood. Also, we have problem of landslide. You must have heard about the Idukki landslide that happened just couple of weeks ago, and there was a lot of lives have been lost in the Kerala. Then you will have problem of drought. Now it's almost contradictory. You must be thinking that on one hand it is causing flood, on the other hand it is causing drought. How? So definitely I hope that you will get that answer after this lecture. So it is associated with hazards, it is associated with agriculture. Also, this monsoonal rainfall, of course it is not the direct outcome, but it coincides with some other features, phenomena. One of the important phenomena that happens in this monsoonal season is coming of tropical cyclone. You must have heard that our country, eastern coast, was affected by very popular Amphan cyclone that hit our country on the last week of May. There was a devastating, there was a very great damage in state of West Bengal and also to a certain extent in the state of Odisha. So this tropical cyclones also coincide with the monsoon, and of course when the tropical cyclone will coincide with monsoon, definitely these two is bound to happen, that is flood and landslide. Also, when tidal phenomena will coincide with the monsoon, the outcome will again be very high, that is your problem of flood. So most of the western coastal flood, especially flood in Mumbai or in some of the other urban areas of the western coast, sometimes is also caused due to the high tide. High tide of course is not the reason, it is not the phenomena which is caused by monsoon, but when it will coincide with the monsoonal rainfall, then definitely the outcome will be hazardous. So we have the tropical cyclone and high tide. Other than this, we have outcome of diseases. Most of the diseases, like you will have problem of malaria, dengue, all these is sometimes coincide with the monsoonal rainfall. So outcome of diseases is also associated with the monsoonal rainfall. Also this monsoonal rainfall in one way or other also associated with socio-economic problems of our country. So the meaning is that monsoon is not an independent phenomenon. Monsoon's outcome is manifold, and if there will be any changes in this monsoon, there will be a change in almost whole of these phenomena, and if there will be a change in this particular phenomena, then definitely there will be a problem in our country, especially in India. Like when we talk about the monsoon, and if say that we are learning the monsoon, then most of the people will have this doubt that this topic monsoon is only relevant for some of the meteorology student, some of the geology student, some of the geography student, or someone who is preparing for UPSC. It is not very much relevant for the general administrator. But I must tell you that if you will go back and you will try to just find out the problems of flood, that this southern state, especially peninsular state, to be precise, if we will talk about the Kerala, last 3 years continuously Kerala is getting affected by very severe flood. The most severest was in 18, then you will have of course 19 and again this year. So definitely it seems that the planners, the policy makers, they are not able to assess the situation in advance. Of course, they are responding, but their attitude, their particularly orientation is only responding, but they are not able to take it some of the preemptive responses, some of the preemptive steps, so that in first hand itself the flood problem, the flood outcome can be minimized. And why they are not able to control in first hand? Because they have a lot of information, a lot of material is having with them associated with the rainfall, which is changing. So these floods, these hazards are telling these policy makers, are telling these climatologists that there is a time, now time has come to revise those predictions, those models on which the understanding of monsoon was based on. So we have a very great requirement to understand monsoon very precisely, and also to take care, to appreciate some of the changes that is happening in this monsoon. And one of the very important factor which is causing this particularly changes, is the climate change itself. So there is a great linkage of the changing climate and the changing dynamics of the monsoon. Of course, we will go in that detail that what are the different dynamics that are getting changed, but before that we need to understand the general pattern, the general origin of the phenomena of monsoon. So now we will start the topic monsoon, and will try to understand that what is this monsoon and how this monsoon develops, how it affects our country. As far as this monsoon phenomena is concerned, the terminology is concerned, the terminology appeared in some of the medieval time period, but this phenomena was very much accounted in our oldest scripture also. Terminology was given by the Arabs. Arabian scholar has given this terminology, and the root word of this monsoon is mausim, which simply refers to the season. But most of our information, most of the scientific explanation of monsoon started from 17th century. So we are not going in that detail that from where this monsoon appeared and whether it was in geological past or not, because some of the research paper also suggest that even the monsoon was present during some of the geological past when the Himalayas was rising, or even it was the changing dynamics of the monsoon only somewhere around 4100 years. Abruptly there has been a change in the dynamics of the monsoon, the intensity of the rainfall suddenly drastically gone down, and it persisted for about 200 years, and that persisting low rainfall was the main outcome of the very famous devastation of Indus Valley civilization. But in this lecture we are not going in that particular detail, we will focus only to the modern or contemporary nature of this monsoon. So monsoon comes from Arabic word that is mausim, and the scientific explanation of monsoon started in 17th century. There was a very famous British scientist named as Edmund Halley, who has explained this phenomena of monsoon. It was the first time that this phenomena of monsoon was explained by some of the scientists. and he explained it very well, and his explanation was valid for almost 300 years unchallenged. Most of the people have selected his explanation of monsoon in its totality. Also, one very important thing, why his idea was not challenged for almost 300 years was because of less availability of some of the modern scientific instrument. Because in those times we were not having the satellite imagery, we were not having the supercomputer, so that the data can be analyzed, and at a same time the maps and some of the drawings can be taken, that where the rainfall is happening, what is the amount of rainfall is happening. That's why his idea of the monsoon was valid for so long period of time. But the moment when the new findings, new development appeared, then it came to light that this his idea of monsoon is comparatively, or you can say, half explained. He was not proved completely wrong, rather his idea was very much limited. Now first we will discuss about what was the idea of the Edmund Halley, and then we will move to the other part. All these idea of the monsoon is simply referred as monsoonal explanation or monsoonal theory. Monsoonal explanation are simply monsoon theories. We have a lot of explanation, lot of theories available, and all these theories have been broadly categorized in two categories. Classical theory of monsoon and modern theories. Classical theories of monsoon and modern theories. As far as modern theories is concerned, we have so many different ideas given by so many different scientists. Also, in this modern theory, we will discuss some of the role of some individual contribution of scientists, but here we have a lot of results, a lot of finding outcome has been given by a joint venture of intergovernmental organization. Government of India, Government of Soviet Union, some other world international organization like World Meteorological Organization. They have used their resources to find out this phenomena of monsoon. So under this modern theory, we will appreciate the contribution given by the individual scientists as well as some of the contribution given by some of the particular different international organizations. As far as classical theory is concerned, the same theory that was given by Halley is part of the classical theory. So under the classical theory, we have only one idea, one concept that was given by Sir Edmund Halley, and his idea is part of classical theory. In modern theory, we have so many theories, but one of the theory is simply referred as role of ITCZ. So we have classical theory given by Edmund Halley and we have role of ITCZ. First we will try to find out that what was the idea of Halley, what was the classical theory of monsoon. So this classical theory of monsoon was given by Sir Edmund Halley in 1686. Now Edmund Halley, while explaining this phenomena of monsoon, he just tried to relate this phenomena of monsoon, this monsoonal wind, rainfall, with the two of very important seasonal winds, that is sea breeze and land breeze. Now, as far as monsoon is concerned, phenomena of monsoon, as I told you that this terminology appeared in some of the medieval time period, but the phenomena was very much talked in ancient time, even in some of the ancient literature. So when this phenomena was talked, so they were very much in this knowing that there is a rainfall in Indian subcontinent, and that rainfall happens in summer season. But the winter season will be dry. So one of the very important feature of monsoon is summer rainfall and winter dry. Also, how this summer rainfall happens or winter dry is happening? Because of the nature of the wind. So while Edmund Halley explained the phenomena of monsoon, he just think about the changing direction of the wind. So simply he explained that monsoon is nothing. Monsoon is the seasonal reversal of wind system. So idea of Edmund Halley related to monsoon was simply seasonal reversal of wind system. In one season, the wind is blowing from one direction to other, and in the other season, the next season, the same wind is getting reversed. So according to Edmund Halley, simply he thought that Indian mainland is surrounded by ocean. Indian mainland is surrounded by ocean. In summer season, the wind will blow from the ocean to the land, and the wind that will blow from the ocean to land in summer season will bring the rainfall. And during the winter season, because of the changing pattern, the wind will start flowing from land to sea. So simply, Halley has explained that the monsoonal rainfall in India is the resultant of seasonal reversal of the wind. In one season, the wind is blowing from the land to sea. In another season, wind is blowing from the sea to land. Now the question arises that why this reversal is happening. So to explain that reversal, he just took the particularly explanation or relation of movement of the sun and the heating. You all know that the sun and earth is not stationary. Earth is continuously revolving around the sun. Because of this revolution of the earth, and also earth is rotating on its tilted axis. So because of this earth's tilted axis rotation and revolution, there will be a continuous change in the dynamics of sun and earth. Because of this changing dynamics of sun and earth, in different seasons, the earth and sun's orientation will be different. So in very simple word, the sun and earth's orientation will get changed. Whenever there is a summer season, the orientation of sun and earth will be such that the sunlight or sun will move toward the Tropic of Cancer, that is northward. In winter season, the same sun's orientation will move toward the southern hemisphere. So simply, there will be a movement of the sun in summer season and winter season. I must be very much sure that all these information you must have gone through from your NCERT or your GS classes. Alright. So simply, the sun will move northward in summer season and it will go southward in winter season. Whenever the sun will move northward, the temperature of northern hemisphere, the temperature of northern side will start rising. Whereas when the sun will go southward, the temperature in southern hemisphere will start rising. We call it as heating. So simply, whenever the sun will move northward, heating will be more in northward. When the sun will be moving southward, heating will be more in southward. But with this heating will not be uniform. This heating will be different for the continent and ocean. We call it as differential heating. So when the amount of sunlight, when the amount of energy is same, if you will have a same latitude, both the land and ocean is present, so the same amount of energy will raise whatever the temperature over the ocean, definitely the rise in temperature over the land will be more. So that's why it is being said that the land will get quickly heated up as well as it will get quickly cooled up. So there will be a quick cooling and particularly warming of the land as compared to the ocean. So simply what Halley explained, that because in summer season the sun will be overhead to the India, because at the peak of its 21st June position, the sun's position will be around Tropic of Cancer, which almost passes from middle of our country. So during the summer season, the Indian mainland will get very high heated up. Due to this high heating of Indian mainland, there will be a low pressure develop. Whereas the nearby ocean, the Indian Ocean, of course you will have comparatively, it is farther from the Tropic of Cancer, so definitely heating will be less, and also it is an ocean. So here you will have a less heating, and if you will have less heating means you will have high pressure. So simply because of the changing dynamics of the sun and earth, the Indian mainland will get comparatively more heated, due to which low pressure will develop, whereas the Indian Ocean will be comparatively less heated up, so here high pressure will develop. The moment you will have the pressure gradient, the air will start moving from the area of high pressure to area of low pressure. So simply the wind will start moving from Indian Ocean to Indian mainland. And as these winds are moving from the Indian Ocean, so definitely these moving wind will collect a lot of moisture, and the same moisture that is collected from the Indian Ocean will be brought by these winds to the Indian mainland, and Indian mainland will receive a lot of rainfall in summer season. So summer rainfall is simply the resultant of the differential heating between Indian mainland and the Indian Ocean. Now what will happen in the winter season? Because the winter season will start when the sun will go in southward. In winter season, the sun's position will be over Tropic of Capricorn. Now the sun has moved to southern hemisphere, so definitely southern hemisphere will have more heating, northern hemisphere less heating. So the same particularly Indian mainland, which was high heated up, now here you will have less heating. Because of less heating, now it will develop high pressure. Because of development of high pressure over the Indian mainland, consequently, the Indian Ocean will develop low pressure. So, simply now the pressure gradient is between land to the sea. So, now the wind will start moving from the Indian mainland to Indian Ocean. So, in summer season, Indian Ocean towards Indian mainland, and in winter season, Indian mainland to Indian Ocean. Also, as these winds in winter season moving from the land part, so they will not acquire the moisture. Over the land, there is a deficiency of moisture, and when there is a deficiency of moisture over the land, there will not be the rainfall. So, simply these winds are moving over the continental part, land part, and they have the deficiency of moisture. That's why they will not cause a rainfall. So, simply the monsoon was explained by Halley as the consequence of differential heating of land and ocean. This idea of Halley was almost valid for more than 3 centuries. So, this idea of Halley that simply Indian monsoon is the resultant of differential heating of Indian Ocean and Indian mainland was valid for 3 centuries. In fact, he just extended the idea of sea breeze and land breeze. The same differential heating plays role in development of sea breeze and land breeze. So, sea breeze, there will be a small coastal area and there will be a small coastal land. So, in place of a small coastal area, he replaced the small coastal area with the mighty Indian Ocean. In place of small coastal landmass, he replaced it with mighty Indian subcontinent. So, he extended simply the sea breeze and land breeze. Sea breeze blows in the during daytime, and he explained this day with the summer season, and land breeze blow during the night time, and he extended this explanation of land breeze to the simply land breeze that is blowing in winter season. So, the Halley simply extended the idea of land and sea breeze, and he explained the monsoon. Simply monsoon is the seasonal reversal of the wind system, and how the winds are reversing because of the differential heating. Also, it will be more clear to you. Just refer this diagram. You can see in this diagram, these red color are simply the situations in during summer season. So, during summer season, winds are during summer season, these winds are blowing from the Indian Ocean towards Indian mainland, whereas during winter season, these winds are blowing from Indian mainland towards Indian Ocean. And why they are blowing from Indian Ocean to Indian mainland? Because of the pressure difference. Because here you will have high pressure, and here you will have low pressure, and here you will have high pressure during summer season, whereas consequently we have high pressure and low pressure during winter season. So, simply it is the resultant of differential heating. Now, this idea of Halley was valid for more than 3 centuries. But when some of the new findings appear, when some of the new data appeared, then the people have started questioning the idea of Edmund Halley, that whatever the Edmund Halley has explained is correct or not. One very important thing that was highlighted by this particular idea of Halley, that Halley talked about that it is simply the resultant of pressure difference. Pressure difference has been caused due to the high heating. So once the Indian mainland gets heated up, the wind will start blowing from Indian Ocean toward the Indian mainland. That is all right. But what will happen when this rainfall will happen for next 2 to 3 days, or you can say for 1 week? The moment if the rainfall is continuously happening for 1 week, the pressure that has developed over mainland, that is high pressure, will get dissipated. So simply once rainfall has started, after having, let's say, 7-8 days rainfall, the low pressure condition that has developed over Indian mainland will get disappear, because simply rainfall happened, temperature will go down, and if the temperature will go down, this low pressure is bound to dissipate. And the moment this low pressure will turn into high pressure, the pressure gradient will be lost. And if the pressure gradient will be lost, then the rainfall must stop. But if you will follow the pattern of rainfall, then the monsoonal rainfall is not limited for a week or 10 days. Rather, it is referred as June to September rainfall, that is June, July, August and September. So the question arises that once, of course, Halley was able to explain this region, that why the winds are particularly reversing, why the winds have started flowing from Indian Ocean to Indian mainland in summer season. But he was not able to explain, idea of Halley was not able to answer the question that what will happen if the rain will persist for 5 to 7 days, because after persisting rainfall for 5 to 7 days, the low pressure condition that has developed over Indian mainland is bound to change, and if the low pressure condition will change, definitely the rainfall must stop. But his idea have failed to explain this. That's why we have a new idea appeared, idea concept of Fawn, and idea concept of Fawn is related to ITCZ rule. Now Fawn's idea is simply that Indian rainfall, Indian monsoonal rainfall is nothing but it is the resultant of some of the role being played by the ITCZ. Now what is the question arises, that what is ITCZ? ITCZ is simply the intertropical convergence zone. Now it will be just see in this diagram, it's a simple presentation of the ITCZ. We have the wind system. I am sure you must have gone through in the NCERT, or in coming days it will be discussed. Simply we have the different planetary wind. We have the trade winds that are blowing in the tropical region, westerly wind that are blowing in the mid latitude, and the polar easterly. The convergence zone of the two tropical easterly, the two trade winds, is simply referred as zone of convergence, zone of low pressure, that is ITCZ, intertropical convergence zone. So intertropical convergence zone is a zone of low pressure, where two of the winds are converging, where the two winds are colliding, and simply winds are rising. Also the zone of low pressure always associated with the rising. So wherever there is a low pressure, that is high heating, the air will rise, and when the air will rise, definitely you will have all other options left, that is cooling, adiabatic cooling, and you will have the condensation. So ITCZ is simply associated with the particularly convergence of tropical easterly and tropical to tropical easterly. Now these zones, this is a general representation. This is a general representation of the ITCZ and other wind system. But these ITCZ as well as these wind system have orientation to get change. And how they will get change? They will get change depending upon the sun and earth's orientation. So simply whenever the sun will go northward, these ITCZ zones will also shift northward, and when the sun will go southward, these ITCZ zone will go southward, and when they will get northward or southward, sun will move northward during the summer season. So in summer season these ITCZ will shift northward, while in the winter season these ITCZ will simply go in southward. So if you can see in another diagram, it will be more clear to you. How these ITCZs are moving. ITCZ simply moves depending on the particular season. So here you will have the summer season. In summer season, you can see in this diagram, ITCZ has moved to northward, whereas in winter season, the same ITCZ has shifted to southward. So the ITCZ will shift. ITCZ will shift with the shifting of the sun. So whenever there is a shifting of sun in northward, ITCZ will shift northward. Whenever there is a shifting of sun in southward, ITCZ will shift southward. In general, the position of ITCZ is very much associated with your equator. So ITCZ is more or near to the equator, and wherever you will have ITCZ, you will have presence of two trade winds, that is northeasterly and southeasterly. So northeasterly and southeasterly are both near to this ITCZ. But now just think of the summer season. So during summer season what will happen? During summer season the sun will move northward, and when the sun will shift northward, because of the shifting of the sun in northward, this ITCZ will also start shifting. So now ITCZ has shifted, and the ITCZ will at its peak will reaches to the 23.5 on 21st June. So almost by the end week of May itself, ITCZ will place itself over the Indian mainland. So the ITCZ have appeared. Here you will have southeasterly winds. As you know, ITCZ is a zone of convergence. Zone of convergence of two winds, that is northeasterly as well as southeasterly. So there is a northeasterly, there is a southeasterly. So definitely southeasterly will crosses the equator and will try to reach the zone of convergence. While this southeasterly will crosses the equator, the Earth's dynamics will come into the picture. Earth is not a static body, rather Earth is continuously rotating on its axis. Because of this continuous rotation of the Earth, there is a pseudo deflective force that deflect almost all the moving object and simply referred as Coriolis force. So any moving object on the Earth's surface will get deflected due to this Coriolis force, and how the Coriolis force will affect? All the moving object will get deflected rightward in the northern hemisphere and leftward in the southern hemisphere. So simply, when these southeasterly trade will try to cross this particularly equator, these will get affected, and these will get affected by the Coriolis, and the tendency of the Coriolis will be to turn it right, to turn it rightward. So simply because of that, these same southeasterly after crossing equator will turn rightward, and the same southeasterly will become southwesterly. As these southeasterly will become southwesterly, they will reach up to the northeasterly. Also, as these southwesterly are crossing over the ocean, so definitely they will acquire the moisture, they will carry the moisture, and the same wind, when it will reaches to the mainland and it will come across with the mountain or high heated land, so depending upon the different phenomena like convective or orographic, the rainfall will happen. So simply the same southeasterly after crossing the equator is becoming southwesterly, or the same southwesterly is carrying the moisture from the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, and the moisture is brought by these southwesterly over the Indian mainland in the form of Indian monsoon. So the idea of FON is completely different from the idea of particularly Halley. Of course, FON is also not rejecting the idea of Halley, but FON is giving a new insight in the particularly understanding the monsoon. FON is saying that ITCZ is a low pressure zone. This ITCZ has shifted northward. The ITCZ has positioned itself over the Indian mainland, and as this ITCZ has located itself over Indian mainland, there is a low pressure zone, and also ITCZ is a convergence zone of two trade wind, that is northeasterly and southeasterly. So wherever you will have ITCZ, both the winds should be there. So this southeasterly will crosses the equator and it will reaches up to there in the form of southwesterly, and as these southwesterly are crossing over the ocean, they will gather the moisture and they will bring the moisture to India in the form of rainfall. And that rainfall will happen in summer season, and because the rainfall is caused by southwesterly, that's why our monsoon is also referred as southwest monsoon. So why it is simply referred as southwest monsoon? Because the rainfall is caused due to southwesterly wind. So FON has explained that particular phenomena which Halley was not able to explain. Now Halley has failed that once the rainfall will continue for, let's say, 7-8 days, then the low pressure that has developed over the ground will dissipate, will disappear. But in case of idea of FON, The low pressure is being caused due to the ITCZ. ITCZ is a dynamic phenomenon. Now, whatever the day you will have rainfall, let's say you will have 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, there won't be any major effect over the ITCZ, because ITCZ is not influenced by the rainfall. Rather, ITCZ is influenced by the movement of the earth and sun, that is shifting of the sun. So, this ITCZ will move southward only with the migration of the sun, and the sun will start migrating only in the month of September. So, almost for once the rainfall will start in India, due to presence of this ITCZ, rainfall will continue for, let's say, next 2 months, 3 months. So, Fawn was able to explain one of the very important intricacies in the monsoon, that why the monsoonal rainfall is continuing for so long. Because if it's simply the resultant of differential heating, so that heating will definitely dissipate once the rainfall will come, and it will continue for 7-8 days. So, simply Fawn has explained that very well. But one of the things that Fawn was not able to explain, even the ITCZ theory was not able to explain, is that simply our understanding about the Indian monsoon was that monsoon is associated with the summer rainfall. Summer rainfall means simply when the temperature will rise, high heating will happen, high heating will result into development of low pressure. As far as India is concerned, the summer season starts almost in the mid of March, or you can say last week of March. But if you will go with the details of the monsoonal rainfall, the normal date of the monsoonal rainfall is 1st June, and this rainfall is sudden, and this sudden rainfall is also termed as monsoon burst. So, the rainfall starts suddenly on the Malabar coast on around 1st June rather than in the month of April and May. Whereas, if you will go with the details of the heating, the temperature, then you will find by the 15th April, most part of the northwestern states, central state have temperature more than 40 degree, and even in the month of May, almost most part of the country will have temperature above 40 degrees Celsius. So, in spite of having this high temperature, why the monsoonal winds are not arriving in the month of March, April or May? Why the monsoon, why the rainfall is starting by the 1st June? Why not in the month of April and May? So, this question was not answered by this ITCZ also. So, simply we require some more insight, some new insight to understand that why this rainfall is not happening in the month of April and May. So, for that we will go in details of some of the other modern theories, some of the other findings that have happened, you can say post 1950s. So, simply ITCZ theory suggests that due to shifting of ITCZ, the rainfall will happen due to movement of the southeasterly. Now, as this ITCZ has moved to northward during the summer month, southeasterly will go and there will be a rainfall. Whereas, the same ITCZ will shifted the same ITCZ that has shifted northward during winter season, the same ITCZ will come back to its equator position, or simply it will go southward. Whatever the situation is, I am not very much concerned. I am simply concerned that ITCZ has shifted southward. When the ITCZ has shifted southward, initially the northeasterly that were present above of northward of country, now this northeasterly will extend, and these northeasterly almost cover the entire country. So now the southeasterly migrated back to its normal position, whereas the India is under the influence of northeasterly. And again, as these northeasterly are moving over the mainland, so there will be a deficiency of moisture, and when there is a deficiency of moisture, definitely there will not be a rainfall. So most part of the country being under the influence of northeasterly will not experience rainfall. But some of the particularly northeasterly, while crossing Bay of Bengal, it will collect some of the moisture, and due to coastal orientation, it will hit the coast of Tamil Nadu during winter season. And as it already has collected some of the moisture from Bay of Bengal, the moisture will be brought by these particular winds in the Tamil Nadu coast, and the rainfall will happen. Tamil Nadu coast receives rainfall from the northeasterly, not from the southwesterly. These northeasterly also sometimes referred as winter monsoonal rainfall. So Tamil Nadu coast is very famous in India because it receives only rainfall during the winter season, not in the summer season. Why it doesn't receive rainfall in the summer season, that we will discuss when we will discuss the rainfall pattern. So simply, most part of the country during the winter season will be under the northeasterly influence, and that's why there will be a dry time. So the theory of ITCZ simply explains the monsoon phenomena in terms of migration of ITCZ. ITCZ will move northward, southeasterly will crosses the equator, it will come under the influence of Coriolis, and because of the Coriolis, the southeasterly will turn rightward, and the same southeasterly will become southwesterly, and the southwesterly will carry some of the moistures from this particularly Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and will carry moisture to the Indian mainland in the form of rainfall. So that's the idea of the FON. So in totality, we have understood two are very important theories, explanation related to monsoon, one given by Halley and the other one given by the FON. The Halley and FON's idea plays an important role in understanding the monsoon, the origin and mechanism of the monsoon. The Halley's idea, almost after more than 370 years, it still holds very much true. But of course, we have a lot of intricacies, and one of the intricacies we already have solved through the idea of ITCZ. Now we will move to some other parts, some other intricacies, and we will try to solve. So the other modern theories we will discuss in the next part. Thank you everyone. Thank you.